Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Every Woman. Tonight we're going to dive into the roller coaster, which is our 20s. The wins, the losses, the lessons, and everything in between. If you ever felt like you're just trying to figure it out as you're going, you're not alone and it never stops. Tonight we have an amazing panel and women who are just going to keep it real and share their experiences. So, hey ladies.
Hey.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good,
Wonderful.
Good. So we're all just gonna go around, introduce ourselves, and just say one fact about you. So my name is Thea Lopez, Wilmington, Delaware, born and raised. I'm an environmental educator and a community organizer, and what I love to do for fun is I have old lady hobbies. I love to go to antique shops and find little cute things and DIYs. I am a DIY girly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hi y'all, I'm Paige Monet. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm actually the producer of the show, but today I'm talent.
Shout out to that.
Honestly, I'm new to Delaware, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm just happy to meet more young ladies that are like me or not like me, just networking and getting to know the community and everyone in it.
Wonderful. Hey everyone, my name is Rihanna. I am from Wilmington, Delaware. Was born in Delaware, but also grew up in Carolinas. A fun fact about me, I have a natural hair care salon. I've been open with a brick and mortar for 4 years here in Wilmington, Delaware. So,
Okay, flex.
I love to network with ladies just to basically help them bring out the better version of themselves with their hair. Start with one strand at a time. Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Aisha. I am 22 years old, so I'm still just entering my 20s. I'm from Wilmington, Delaware. I've been here since I was 4, but I'm also a model, photographer, creative director, and I am the founder of an all-inclusive modeling agency called I by Us.
Yes.
We love
that
creative.
tea.
All right, you guys. So if you could tell yourself one thing if you could tell yourself and go back to your 18-year-old self, what is one piece of advice that you would give her?
That's kind of tough. I feel like at 18, I thought I was gonna have my life together by 25, and then 25 came and I was like, wait, still don't have it together. But I would say to her, just keep going. Don't give up. You're gonna figure it out. It's okay. I feel like the pressures of society and the world is just especially as a woman, I feel like we have to be the ones having it all together. So I would tell her, it's okay, girl. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get this money, and you're gonna be your best self. I feel like at 18, I was just entering college, and I thought I knew what I wanted to do. And as later on, as I was going through my college career, I realized that what I signed up for is not what I really want to do. So I was a journalism major. I thought I was gonna be a news reporter. I thought I was gonna be the next, anchor woman, weather girl. And then quickly I realized, I was like, no, this is not what I want to do. And now I'm here, and I actually love it. So yeah, definitely just keep going, encouragement, and just, that it's going to get better. Don't stress.
Sure. That's a really good, Paige. For me personally, I would say developing more spirituality, because I feel like we're in a spiritual world, realizing we're in physical bodies, having we're spiritual human beings in physical bodies. So it's one of the type of things where I feel like it's not about the religion, it's about the relationship. So just connecting with the Creator so He will guide my path, because it's one of the type of things where we think that we know what's next for ourselves, but we don't know, because it's like our first time experiencing this world. And we look for our mothers and fathers to have everything together, and they be all over the place with their lifestyle. So it's like, who do we look for? It's one of the type of things where me being a spiritual person, when my parents forsaken me, it's like the Creator, He brings me into a sense of, who I am, reassuring me, and most importantly, knowing that even if nobody's there, pat you on the back, pat your own self on the back. I went to college as well, and I went to a PWI, and it was a totally different experience for me, because I'm the first out of my 13 siblings to go to a 4-year institution. So it's one of the type of things, I always had dreams, but I didn't know what is a dreamer. So just understanding, what my purpose, even at a young age, not trying to get into the boys so young, but also getting into myself, redefining what I love, what I like, what I dislike, reassuring my values, morals and values, basically.
18-year-old me, definitely I would just tell her, keep going, everything gets better. I was going through a lot of mental illness, anxiety and depression and things like that. I ended up going to college twice, dropped out both times. The first time I was down the street at the Delaware College of Art and Design studying photography. been doing photography literally all my life. It's been all I know. So I would just tell her things get better. I'm now a photographer full time and everything. It's how I, make my money and everything.
Yes.
So definitely just keep going.
Nice. I love that.
And I feel like everything that you guys said really resonates with me, especially my 18-year-old self. And I work a lot with girls who are 18 and 16, all in Wilmington. And I'm constantly reminded, like, the things that we go through living in the city and just trying to find, like, some type of direction. But when I think about what I would tell my 18-year-old self is that it all makes sense. And eventually everything is going to work out. Like you, I was the first to graduate from college. Nice. And me and my best friend had the conversation the other day that after you graduate from college, your family, especially when you're the first to get a degree, they call you with law questions. Now you're the family attorney. Now you just have it figured out. And it's like, baby, I have a degree in integrated marketing. Like, I can't help you with this. So just understanding that, just trusting things and not stressing things so much. I feel like you, I went to a PWI and it was difficult because though it was a few of us, Black folk, when we were together, it felt like it was a lot of us. But I went to a very small school, Bloomsburg University, and it was a very small town, and you experience racism on a daily. And you just get tired of being like the only one in the room, the only young or Black person, period. And I feel like that played a lot with my mental. And I was really excited that after I got out of school, I was just like, no, I'm going back home around folks that I know, folks that value me, appreciate me, and see who I am. So just understand that everything works out and it's all for a reason.
Yes, I agree.
It's interesting hearing like you guys talk about PWIs because I went to HBCU, and I feel like for me,
where'd you go?
I went to Hampton University.
Okay.
The real HU.
HU.
And so for me, I feel like it was just like super competitive. And I feel like I got a lot discouraged a lot, like seeing people get jobs straight out of college, and I'm just looking around like, okay, I got this degree. But now what am I gonna do? Especially because I graduated in COVID, so it was like the world was at a stop. And so I feel like that kind of messed with my mental a lot because it was like, okay, college was supposed to be the next step to defining your career and like figuring out what you're gonna do with your life and the next steps. And I was just sitting there like, okay, like I see people got jobs and now I'm just sitting here at the computer applying, and I'm not hearing anything. But like luckily I was able to get like freelance gigs and things like that. So I was still able to get experience and internships and stuff like that. But definitely I feel like when you're in college, you do compare yourself a lot, especially to like your classmates and people that you see or you think are doing good, I will say. Because sometimes social media definitely, it looks good, but behind closed doors, people are going through things too. So I feel like in your 20s, sometimes comparison can definitely be a theft of joy. You just have to like look in the mirror and focus on yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I just want to add into that, like personally, I feel like circle influence is a big maker or breaker for a lot of people. And if I would have went back in time, I would have paid more close attention to who was in my circle. Because I tell people birds of a feather flock together. You hang around 6 millionaires, you'll be the 7th one. But if you hang around 6 freaky bums, you're going to be the 7th freaky bum. So it's one of the type of things where just knowing your daily interaction, your daily conversations, it don't need to be limited, but it need to be with specific people. Like people that have the same mind as you. And people that know who they are. And even if you don't know who you are, it's like people that actually have the charisma to like think and grow rich, people that love to read, people that love to do art and painting, not people that just like to do drugs and, fornicate. So it's one of the type of things, be able to know, having this like a spirit of discernment, to be able to know like who's for me and who's not. I feel like it's very important at such a young age where, if somebody would have told me, I would have hung around people that look like me, that act like me, that talk like me, rather than people that I thought that was the popular, people that I thought that was trendy, people that was wearing the designers, but it's just a lot that goes with that lifestyle where you look at somebody and you think they have it all made up, but behind closed doors, it'd be a whole scenario.
They say when you're the smart person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yes, that's
really true.
Yes,
someone
Paige.
just told me that a lot of times your friendships in your 20s, you guys are friends just because of proximity, because a relationship. Yes, and you have no business being their friends. Your hobbies are different. Your goals that you have are different. So I'm glad that you spoke about that because I feel like that's something I wish I knew early in my 20s, which could have saved me a lot of heartbreak. Because when we end friendships also, it's hurtful. It's like a whole breakup. It's a real thing.
I feel like friendship breakups kind of hurt more than relationship breakups.
Oh,
Yes,
gosh. Yes. They are.
I feel like that was one of like the things that hit me in my 20s too. Well, I'm still in my 20s, but like my early 20s, like people that I grew up with, like childhood friends you think is gonna be at your wedding, your baby's godmother, and it's like, nope. Yeah, like, yeah, where are you? Like, you fall out with people that you wouldn't even think you would fall out with. It's just like, dang, like, I thought we were gonna be bridesmaids, and
Seriously.
and sometimes it's like you fall out over stupid things, but then sometimes you realize you guys probably just outgrew each other. Like, it's no hard feelings, it's just,
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
On different paths.
And that happens a lot, but I'm glad that we're having this conversation because this is literally what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah.
So I want you guys to tell me, like, what is one thing that you thought that you would have figured out right now that, baby, we're struggling with?
It's kind of hard. Honestly, I would say maybe finances. Just as far as like maybe making more money or just like having it all together when it comes to like house, car, like just living the life that I want to live versus like still striving to get there, if that makes sense. But I feel like
pause on the house. The boomers completely screwed us. Getting a house is like not in the reachable stand. If you didn't buy in 2020, 2019, let's just chill out and stack our coin right now. Let's just wait. But the boomers messed it up for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like I feel that way too, because it's like, dang, I'm like the economy and everything is tanking. The administration, I'm like, oh, this fine. I'm trying to get my life together. It's kind of crazy.
Right. 3 times the amount of rent. Like, what's going on?
It's the whole thing.
Yes. Mine's, I will just add on to what Paige was saying, financial literacy, because you see, like, we don't learn it in the household. You don't learn it in high school. You don't learn it in college. So when do we learn it? It's one of the type of things where it's like self-empowerment, self-teaching yourself, and most importantly, going around people like mentorships, workshops. I feel like that's a lot of things that we miss out on in our 20s as far as being in rooms with people that we aspire to be. We tend to like to be around people that act just like us rather than being people that we want to be when we grow up. And it's plenty of opportunity that's available, but like I said, people don't take advantage of that opportunity because everybody's not doing it. So we want to do what people is doing rather than doing what's best for us. So I feel like put myself in like rooms where I'm learning about how to budget for groceries, how to budget for my favorite pair of jewelries, like my favorite pair of clothes, like just budgeting money correctly, even as a business owner. Like, it's not something I'm struggling with because I got into a room that's actually educating me. It's called a rich workshop, how to basically be rich and like including godliness and using wealth as a tool. So be able to use them resources to be able to like navigate my money appropriately. I feel like I wouldn't be in such a downfall where I'm still staying with my mother and still trying to like get my credit up, just understanding the fundamental principles of how to survive in America. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
I feel like for me, I did not think I was going to be where I am today. I would say when I was, younger, I didn't think I was gonna have anything together by the time I was this age. I can definitely relate to, the financial literacy and everything. I'm still figuring that out as I go. And I didn't really have anybody to kind of guide me with those sort of things. So I think I'm still kind of learning as I go, but I'm definitely doing better than I thought I was going to be.
That's nice.
For sure.
I love that.
For sure.
One thing.
You have a question?
Oh, yes. Hi, Miss Pam.
As a boomer, made a comment about buying houses are our fault.
Yes.
Say more.
So I feel like the boomers, you guys bought these homes for like $100,000, probably less than that, $80,000, maybe $70,000, depending on the area. In my area, I live in North Wilmington, and a lot of the homes that were purchased, they were around that, maybe $110,000. And now homes are going for like $300,000. And I get it. That is a way to build generational wealth. That is a way to protect your investment. And it's things that you're trying to pass down to your kids. But we are at the age where we are buying a house, and it could be hard. I mean, we also purchased a home in 2020, and we got a good rate right before the pandemic. But if I was looking right now, it's completely unaffordable and unattainable. But boomers, y'all got it together if you ask me, because y'all got the money in the bank. All right, give me the boomer perspective.
She said, not at all.
Good evening.
Of 20-somethings. I have a son in his 30s, and I have heard since his 20s how the boomers just destroyed their generation.
I'm hollering.
Please know that boomers are your parents. We love you.
Yes.
Please don't. And what has happened is when there's an accusation against boomers, you are yet creating a division. And what you need to do is learn for one important thing that I emphasize to the younger generation is to learn honor. Honor is how we got what we have. We listened to our elders. You all kind of want to be your independent agents, and you really need to sit at the feet of your parents and your grandparents and learn something from them. We love you. We want to set up an inheritance and pass something on to you. Now, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So for me, when I bought a building, it was a little under 200,000. I sold my building for over $1 million. And I moved here. I'm new to Delaware.
Hard. That's a flex.
Yes, it is.
So, you know, I have things set up for my son. My son is still in Brooklyn, and he's renting. But just please know that if you don't reject us and hate us for what we have, and trust me, we paid a price in the marketplace. We paid a price in the corporate. We survived a lot of stuff to get what we had. We had to humble ourselves. And you all don't like to humble yourselves. You like to say, listen, I will quit this job. I will tell you where to go, how to get there. And that's not how you build. And now we have a whole new world flipped upside down. And we're all now displaced. We got to get together, stay together, unite, and hold our ground and build. And love is we're going to all be okay.
For sure.
I love
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
It's so funny that she says that, because my mom makes that comment all the time. Like, you know, this new generation, I give it to you guys because y'all are so like, y'all don't care. Like, y'all will quit a job and find another one, or y'all will talk back. Like, she's like, it's pros and cons to it. Like, yes, we do. We are the generation that sticks up for ourselves. We definitely are outspoken.
Courageous.
Yeah.
Courageous.
And so I feel like it
Our
is.
parents told us we can be whatever we want to be and do whatever we want to do, and now we're doing it. And they're like, oh, not too much.
But yeah, I feel like it's really true. She has some really good points. Because my grandma just sold her house in Brooklyn as well, and it went for way more than what she bought it for. And I'm like, dang, we should have kept it because the mortgage was super cheap now. But I'm sure whoever bought it probably skyrocketed. But it's just like living and learning, honestly.
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
definitely learning from what my mom always says, I want you to be better than me. I want you to be greater. So it's definitely like learning from what they went through and just trying to like better myself or, you know, push myself further. So I appreciate that comment a lot.
I want to add on to her comment as well, because I feel like I am in that category where I am open and receptive to like the elderly. Like, I'll be quick to get under somebody and take notes, because I feel like the key to life is remaining teachable. And, you know, people will block off information that's literally going to save them. And I come from reproductive abuse, like illegitimacy, where it's no family inheritance. So it's one type of things I have to get in where I fit in. And where I fit in is where people accept me. I don't go into environments where a lot of people be ready to embrace me, because people like, who are you? Where are you from? And I got to basically explain myself, like tell my truth. But it's one of the type of things where I feel as though like our generation is so different, because people don't understand. In that generation, passive income, making money in your sleep was not accessible. Look at social media, how social media put us in position. I make money on social media. And it's one type of things, that's one of the sources of the income. The average millionaire has 7 sources of income. So we put ourselves in position to accumulate more wealth where we don't have to work a 9 to 5 to the day we die. Right. And my goal is to put myself in position where I'm building up my kingdom. You know, as it is in heaven, it should be on earth. So it's one type of things, my family inheritance will be my business, me having insurance, like life insurance. They don't even talk about that. They make it mandatory for you to have car insurance and house insurance, but not mandatory for life insurance. So it's one of the type of things, yes, ladies. So it's one of the type of things where when we educate ourselves on what's important to us and what we're leaving behind, we understand that we can't like coast into this. This is one type of thing you have to move with a sense of urgency, because time is not on nobody's side. And when I say people are dying at any age, when I was young, I thought people could only die at elderly age. And I'm seeing babies die, teenagers die, like just rapidly. And it's just like, no life insurance. Like, what's going on? That's the inheritance right there. So when we put ourselves in conversations with elderly or I call them seasoned women, because I'm in a sorority as well. I'm a part of Alpha Kappa Alpha. So I'm around a lot of seasoned women where they're judges and doctors and lawyers, and they just giving out information, but they like, who won it? And people are running from this information because it's hard to really, like, I guess you could say, like, decompress, like digest it, because it's a lot to like really catch up on where you came from, how life made you, and where you're going. But ultimately, we have our people, like these ladies in our crowd, that's giving us information for free. They're not even charging us. A lot of people gatekeep information. But if somebody gonna sit down and give you information, why not take it and run with it? So like I tell people all the time, sign me up. Where's the information at? Yes.
Relationship. And I think that's something that I learned in my early 30s about mentorship. And that mentorship can be your grandma, that mentorship could be your aunt, that someone can be like someone who you work with, and it's so very important. It's all about relationships. And one thing, so I have a girls empowerment group called Girls Like Us. We show brown and black girls how to uplift and advocate for themselves. And we serve over 250 girls at 7 of our inner city schools. Wow. And this week we were talking a conversation about boundaries and self-love and how you need to understand that you need to have a boundary on every relationship you have, from your teacher, your aunt, your uncle, your best friend. And I mean, I'm not going to go into boundaries with you guys right now because I'm sure we mastered and we're learning to master it. But one thing is really important is about having boundaries in relationships. Relationship. So what is one myth about dating in your 20s that you found to be completely false? Or like, how has your partner been like the ideal person for you? But let's go back. Let's first talk about what happened in your 20s and what was completely false about that.
I think for me, I don't know why, but like when I was like 16, I just knew that I was gonna be married. Married, 2 kids, but like 26, and it's like, girl, bye. Like that. Not that it's not realistic, it's just some things that happen for other people might not happen for you. And so like, while I'm looking, like scrolling on Instagram, and I'm looking at people I went to high school with, and I'm like, oh wow, engaged. Oh wow, wedding. Oh wow, baby shower. And I'm just like, and I'm going to work. Yep, great. But I feel like for me, it just everyone has different walks of life. So like, while I thought that I would be like in a serious relationship and focusing on, planning a wedding, it didn't happen like that. And honestly, I'm kind of grateful for that, because I think like being in relationships like in college and like high school, even though they're like, not that they're stupid, but you learn a lot from those relationships, and you learn what you like, what you don't like. You figure out, like you said, boundaries, like your non-negotiables. And so for me, I feel like I'm kind of happy with where I am right now, even though it's not what I thought or dreamed of when I was a teenager. But it's like, who really wants to be married at 21? Like, ew. I feel like I'm just happy that I'm the type of person where I'm able to just enjoy my experiences, like live in the moment. I feel like that's what my 20s really taught me, live in the moment. Stop stressing about the future, even though sometimes it's hard to do that because you are focused on, making sure that your future is bright. But I think living in the moment is so important because, like you said, people are dying so young now. It's like you just have to like live like it's your last. So I feel like for me, it's just about experiences, enjoying the people that I love, making new experiences, traveling. Like that's really what I'm grateful for, as far as like not being in a serious relationship or like living with someone right now. So I'm grateful for that I can just enjoy my 20s and explore.
I have a lot to say. So I only been in 3 relationships in my lifetime, and I'm 29. I'll be 30 July 27th. And this is my single season of loving and accepting myself. Like I just explained earlier to the crowd, that I come from a legitimacy, which is basically where you put out here with no family inheritance, where your parents is just confused about being with each other and just creating babies outside of marriage. So it's one of the type of things where I didn't know how to love myself. My father like gave me love, but it's like he focused more on his wife more than he focused on his children. So it put me in an absent state of mind of who's gonna love me. So I went to my first lover, and he accepted me but rejected me in front of his family. And with that, I was not able to like cope or deal with me trying to like love bomb him, as far as love me so you could like love yourself type of thing, where I feel like as a young adult, it's one of the type of things where you shouldn't jump from relationship to relationship to relationship.
Gosh.
We don't give ourselves enough time to heal. And I tell people all the time, your first enemy as a child is an unhealed parent. If your parent is not healed, how will you grow up and see what healing is? Or how can you actually form into a relationship where you're not causing complications towards this man because you don't know how to love yourself? So I feel like it's so important to spend time with yourself before you even get into a relationship. Know exactly what you like, what you don't like, and like you were saying, boundaries. I was not taught boundaries. I was just letting anything happen to me without a boundary. And it's one of the type of things, even the Creator have boundaries, the 10 Commandments. So until you know exactly what a boundary is, it's just like you have to like withhold yourself for the best man to come. Save the best for last. And I feel like people need to put themselves in positions where in their 20s, where they're just spending more time with themselves, and most importantly, being around an environment of love, people that just accept you from day one, not day two, not day three, because life is like toothpaste. Once you squeeze toothpaste out that toothpaste jar, you can't put it back in. So who you show people who you are from day one, that's who they're gonna treat you as, accept you as, and talk to you as. And I feel like I didn't have that concept like intact. So I was going in relationships loving people more than they love me. And I found myself hurt in the end.
Not the one-sided relationships. Okay,
One-sided.
That's what we are not doing.
Yes.
We're stopping that in our early 20s, okay?
Yes.
I ain't doing it.
It's terrible. And then just the fast forward time, my last relationship it ended in April. I was in domestic violence. I was in a relationship for 4 years with this guy. We was praying, devoting ourselves, like actually figuring out, thinking we about to be married. Whole time, the master of disguise. Like he was literally a womanizer. Like had so many relationships in my relationship, and I didn't know because I'm a business owner. I'm trying to get paid. I'm trying to build up my family inheritance. And whole time he said I'm too busy for him. So he basically cheated on me. But basically when I went to go break up with him, like I got woken up in the middle of my night by the Spirit of God. Like he woke me up and I went through this boy's phone to find out he was homosexual. Yes, he was liking men. And I was like shocked on every single level because I'm with this guy for 4 years and whole time he's into men. And I never knew that. So it's one of the type of things where it's like try the spirit by the spirit. Know who that person is before you even give them your goodies, ladies. Do y'all hear me? Like I feel like we just
hold it.
Literally, come on, let's clock this tea. We gotta clock that tea. I feel like we jump into relationships and like, you're gonna love me through sex. You're gonna love me through this. And it's just like, no, withhold that. Because if you can't wait, then he's not for you.
Yeah, that's true.
So I wish somebody would have told me that sooner. I wish my mom would have sat down and like, hey, Rihanna, like, this is what this is and this is what this not. Because like I said, it would have prevented me from even being in what I was in. Like I was held hostage for 30 days and I lost clientele behind this because they were like, where are you at? I'm booking appointments and you're not showing up. Whole time I'm in a situation where I'm trying to get out of. And it's just like, if I can't have you, nobody will. That was his words. So it was one of the type of things where I feel like people need to take their time to evaluate, like, people have good character. People have personality and character. We need to be able to know the difference. Yeah. Somebody could tell you great jokes and you laughing out loud. Whole time that joke could be a habitual lie. So the joke was the personality, the character was the lie. So when we sit down having a conversation with our future relationships and spouses, we need to be able to have the spirit of discernment to be able to recognize, is this a lie or is this a joke? And also be able to have dialogue with the Creator so he could give you like, hey, this person's not for you. Wisdom, imparted wisdom. That's what I basically will like tell anybody in their 20s. Ask the Creator for imparted wisdom. And if you don't know who the Creator is, he put you here on this earth and he's gonna be the person you're gonna meet at the end of this lifetime. You're not gonna meet your mom, parent, cat or dog, you're gonna meet the Creator. So just form that relationship with him. So when you form a relationship with another human being, you'll know for a fact, okay, this is my kingdom man. To death do us part.
I like that. I'm kind of curious, like how is if you're into like dating and things like that, how is it in your early 20s? I feel like.
And you are, you're not an alpha, what are you called again? Like the category of age.
Like the
generation?
Generation.
Gen Z.
Gen Z, okay.
Mm-hmm. I started dating when I was about 16, 17. I unfortunately got involved in online dating very early. So once I turned like 17, 18, and I grew up with both my parents, but my parents were never really together. They knew each other since they were kids. So I kind of grew up with two best friends as opposed to two parents. I never saw my parents kiss, hug, do anything romantic. So it kind of made dating for me a little confusing, I guess. I feel like not being able to see that made me want it even more. I was somebody who really loved acting, really loved TV and seeing relationships on TV. it's not like that. So I was somebody who, unfortunately, I was, back to back into relationships. I was in a relationship for maybe like a year and a half, and then I met someone a week later, got right into something else. And unfortunately, that did turn into a very abusive situation on his side. And after that, I just kept going relationship to relationship to relationship. And last summer was the longest I had been single. I was single for several months. And I feel like for me, I'm not somebody who has a lot of friends. I feel like friendships in your 20s are also very hard as women. And I was never able to make friends in school, but I was always able to find boyfriends for whatever reason. And so, yeah, like I said, I was single all summer. And for me, I was just craving the love that I was just used to having. And for me, I feel like when you're looking for something, you don't get it. And so I was, going out with my friends, going out to the bars and everything. I'm in a relationship now. We've been dating for about 6 months now. And this is like the first time that I have felt 100%, accepted, loved, safe, everything. So dating in your 20s as well, I feel like my mom complains about this a lot, is we're so used to just meeting people online. We don't meet people in real life at all anymore. And that was, something else that, I wish I had. Just watching TV and stuff is just like getting that organic, love and stuff like that. So I would say dating in your 20s is definitely interesting, but I feel like I was doing it long enough to kind of, for the most part, have mastered it so far. But
I feel like to add on to that too, I feel like in your 20s, at least for me, I was gaining like independence. Like I came from a really sheltered household. Like I couldn't do nothing, okay? And I was the only girl. So my mom used to be on it. Like, call me when you get there. Call me when you, like, if the party is happening, there's no parents there, you can't go. Like she was that mom. So when I went away to school, it was like freedom. But I feel like for me, because of that, I feel like I was becoming codependent in relationships because I was so used to, I don't even know why, honestly, but I think it's because it was like, oh, like this is the first time I'm able to like see this person every day and like hang out whenever I want to. So I feel like I became codependent, which I realized quickly, like, that's not really good, because when you guys break up, you feel like your world's falling apart, and it's really not that serious.
It's not.
And it's like not to, and it's like not to diminish like what you go through as a teenager, because in the moment it does feel
amazing,
like real.
Yeah.
But like growing up, it's like, girl, it wasn't even that deep. So I feel like for me, I had to like, in my early 20s, I had to realize like, you could be in a relationship, just don't be dependent on the person. Like you still need to be yourself. Like be happy within yourself, self-love, and then, figure out what you want in a partner or whatever. So I could definitely agree to that.
I agree for sure. I feel like in your 20s, you are thinking, I need to date with intention to get married. And that was like a big thing. So I'm 33, and growing up, I didn't see many healthy relationships around me. My mom, she dated a lot. My parents, my father and my stepmom, they were the only like healthy couple that I've ever seen. And it was different, especially because within my friends, my family, my parents were the only ones that were married. So it was like, this is weird. This is not how things are supposed to be. So I feel like I tried to like date and try to figure, how things went. And I feel like in my early 20s is when I finally felt okay to like date around. I feel like your generation made it okay to like just date and have fun. But in my generation, your parents like, why are you dating this many people? Why are you just 2 weeks ago, I seen you with someone else. But I feel like your generation has truly changed that narrative of like dating and figure out what you like and what you don't like. And I feel like if I could have told myself in my early 20s, girl, date, have fun, have a time, because also growing up, because I didn't see a lot of healthy relationships in my community, I thought that, you have to go through hell in order to get the ring and the happiness. And that is so far from the truth. But when you're used to seeing that and your friends go through these like negative like relationships, you think that that's normal. So definitely your 30s is really unlearning those toxic behaviors and things that we just normalized, and we have to because of what we're exposed to in our community. My community, should I say? I don't know where you guys.
It's like when you see people in your family married, you don't necessarily even realize how dysfunctional it is until you get older. Like it's like when you're at the dinner table, you hear the grown-ups talking, but it's like, what are they talking about? But now when you get the seat at the grown-up table, it's like, oh, this is all the tea that was going on. This is crazy.
For sure.
So I've definitely and I will say I'm unlearning toxic traits that I had too, from like 21 to like 25. Turned 27 this year, so I'm like, oh, child, 30 is knocking. But people say that you get finer and wiser in your 30s, so I'm looking forward to it.
30 is it. 30 is where it's at. I'm telling you guys, 30s is your 20s, just with more money, with boundaries. Your self-care is like there. Your time. Oh, and you're listening to gut health, like real crazy. Like you're staying away from cheese, okay? You're being very mindful. And then your body, you just can't sleep past 9 o'clock now in your 30s. But you guys spoke a lot of like partners and like things that you've learned. So now that we've learned in our 20s, we understand what toxic behaviors are, toxic traits. We are saying no to negative behaviors. What is like your ideal partner, and how have you changed since you were younger?
Honestly, I feel like my ideal partner is still kind of the same. As far as
like in your 20s?
Like as far as like what I want.
Okay.
Not necessarily like what I've experienced, but I still have like the ideal, like I want no, I take that back. Because before I used to be like, oh, the guy I'm with has to be the breadwinner. But as I get older, I've realized I don't think I would necessarily mind being the breadwinner as long as it's like some type of balance. So it's like, if I'm going to work and I'm making all the money, like, I wouldn't mind like a stay-at-home dad as long as you're taking care of the kids, cooking. Like, I wouldn't mind the
partnership.
Yes.
Okay.
So like, I feel like before it was like, no, like the guy has to make 6 figures. He has to have a nice car. Got to live in like a big house. But I feel like as I get older, things kind of shift for me a little bit. But I think that's also me becoming more independent. Like, it's like I want to make the money. I'm like, I want to make more money than him.
Okay. Yes.
But I don't know, at the same time too, when I say like, as far as certain things stay the same, as far as just like someone who's kind, someone who shows up, someone that you could be your total self with, who you could spend time with. I feel like for me, it's more so just like you said, partnership and just being able to be my complete self. I feel like if you have to diminish or not be exactly who you are, then that person is not for you. If he dims your light, then it's a no.
Lauren, that just reminds me. Lauryn Hill is like a savior to me, and she says on Lauryn Hill Unplugged, interlude number 5, the real you is more interesting than the fake someone else, and that is something I wish I knew in my 20s. The real you is more interesting than the fake someone else. When you try to pretend to be this person that you're not, you get the total opposite of what you actually even want to attract or what's for you. And I feel like that's something that I had to learn in my 20s. And I've also wanted I wanted the person who was going to lead. This person has to lead me. But baby, no, I need to learn how to lead myself. And now being married for 3 years, I realize that it's not about like someone leading you, but us being in partnership. And partnership is really important, but it's also about understanding what qualities that person has, because we all need to be able to lead in our own different capacities.
Yeah.
Where my husband, he leads more on the financial end. He's big on investing in stock. So I let him handle that. Well, I'm good at planning the meals for the house and picking our girls up certain places and planning date night and stuff. So it's really important to choose your partner, someone who is actually partnering and not want to lead, especially when he doesn't have any direction his darn self.
Right. So I have a question for you, because I feel like 3 years, people will still consider that newlyweds. So do you feel like, people say sometimes like, oh, when she get married, things change. Do you feel like your relationship changed when you got married, like for the better? Or do you feel like you faced some challenges now that you didn't face when you were like dating?
Yeah, so every stage in a relationship, things change. We went from being, dating, newlyweds, planning a wedding, completely trash. I do not recommend it at all. And then like having kids, so it's different. You have different stressors, but we definitely work together because it's all about understanding where each other is and understanding that, some days I can't give 100%. So baby, you gotta do 95. I could give 5, but that's where we meet each other at. And it is different challenges, but we also lead with love, girl, and understanding. And my partner, And let me say, he doesn't play about me. And the way that he pursued me then in 2016 is how he's still pursuing me now. So I get my weekly flowers. He takes care of the girls. He isn't like this masculine man. Girl, my man will cook. He will clean, especially when I need it. So, and that's the kind of partner that you need. Yeah. And that is not what I thought I wanted. I thought I wanted to have the man. I thought I wanted to be like a stay-at-home wife and I handle it. Absolutely not. I would never, I mean, shout out to the stay-at-home moms, but that's not my lane. I like to be very engaged, involved, and making an impact. And I feel like my husband, we man, oh, God made him for me. And I could just, but again, you have to show up and be your real person, the person who I am, because you go through changes, right? So we had a kid going through postpartum. Like, if you are putting this mask on and being this person that you're not, when things change, you're like, who is this man that I woke up to? He used to do this, and this, and now he's not there. Like, just be who you are, and you're gonna find the love and the person who really loves you. And I'm so honored that I have that.
I love that for you. I love that for you so much. For me, I feel like it's important for me to identify what a helpmate is. Because like I said, with me just being a spiritual individual, I'm not here just out here existing like a tree or a dog. I feel like anything I put my mind to, I could become. So I wanted to find somebody that's not just compatible to me, but compatible to the Creator. And what I mean by that is because a man was put out here on this earth first before a woman, and we was formed from the rib of a man. So it's one of the type of things, understanding our position as a woman. And when my man do come my way, I know how to be submissive to him, even though if he don't know the Creator. It's the fact that if I chose him, I have to love him through his pain, his dark errors, his happy errors, not just when he's rich, not just when he have this good job. It's like one of the type of things, being able to meet somebody halfway, just like they met you halfway. I tell people all the time, like, you can't be my friend until you cried with me, until you slept in the car with me, until you was broke with me. Like, you can't call yourself my friend. And that's the same with my partner. Like, I feel like I want my partner to be able to understand, you know, my sorrow, my happiness, my joy, and not trying to dim my light, because I'm such a bright individual, meaning like wherever I go, like I'm gonna be true to who I am at the core of who I am. And I want my partner to be able to be that same exact person and to uplift me when I'm in my environment doing what makes me happy. And like I said, I feel like I've been with men that just dim my light because they didn't know what their light was. So being with somebody that knows their light, knowing that I am the light within him. So it's like going hand in hand with my partner, where it's not about the money at this point. Because I feel like I see my father go through a relationship, 2 marriages, where money was just waved over his head like money made him. And it's like he didn't fire people or hire people. So how is it that money makes him? So understanding what this man is in your life for, and how he's going to help you not only develop to become a better version of yourself, but have a foundation for your little ones to come into this world. Because people don't understand reproductive abuse is a real thing. People put kids out here with no purpose for them. And then we wonder why it's so many kids running rampant in the areas of the trenches where they just broken, and in the jails and institutions where it's like no love there. So I'm all like big on creating love, like a loving environment, like not just the love of the night, but the love of the morning that the sun comes up. So I'm like a hardy person where I want the spouse that come my way, not strong and Hercules or Superman, but a man that genuinely know who he is and just happy about like, hey, this is who I am. Either love me or leave me. Like, give me an opportunity. Don't tell me like 2 days later, this is who you are. I want to know day one. So I can be able to accept you and, you know, have a, what's it called, like a strategy, like a foundation, a blueprint on how we're going to develop our relationship. Because I feel like women, we get in relationships and we don't know what's going to happen in 6 months or a year. We waiting on our man to tell us. Like, we supposed to be helpmate, like, you know, have a brain put together and put each other's mindset together to be able to really conquer things on this earth, like build new things that we've never seen before. Being like really creative with our lifestyle. So I'm all about, you know, the creativity of love.
For sure.
I feel like for me,
It's a breath.
I feel like it's just because I'm still
Going through
just,
it?
you know, I feel like for me, I was never really picky when it came to trades, and I feel like I like watching like the Pop the Balloon on YouTube, and I see like the women in their 30s, like late 30s, early 40s, And I see why they're still single, because they have so many, you have to be this foot tall, you have to make this much money, and it's like,
it's not reality.
I've never been that type of person. I feel like for me, at the foundation of every relationship, it's a best friendship. So anytime I've been with anyone, I've always thought to myself, if we were not romantically involved, would we still be around each other? And so that's always the most important thing for me, is just that friendship, making sure you're somebody I can talk to, making sure you're somebody I could literally be around for 7 days straight and just not get tired of you. So I would definitely say that's it for me.
I love that.
That's how me and my husband started. We call it the never-ending date. We went on one date and we were just with each other.
That's the same thing. That's
ever
what's wrong with
since.
me right
like
now.
It just never stopped. Like never
Ending date. That's cute. I love that.
But you touched on something, and it reminded me of something that we go into, and it's called just reminding ourselves that the family that we create is more important than the family that we come from.
Wow.
Especially when you're trying to create new things and you don't know certain things. We just spoke about how your 30s is a bunch of learning and like relearning and putting boundaries on things. Again, we're raising kids, and I had to put a boundary on my mom because growing up, you know, she would say, I'm going to do this, 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 and she wouldn't do it. And then she started doing that behavior with my daughter, and I had to let her know, baby, we're not doing that. Okay. So really understanding that the family that you create is very important than what you come from.
I just want to say something really quick. I feel like you just said the word right there, family that we create. I feel like people put emphasis on Black Lives Matter. No, family lives matter, because now it's so many interracial relationships where you have to honor your family, not honor the color on your skin. So I feel like we are, you know, just need to like grasp that moment of family lives matter, and knowing that your children, they're really looking at you to be the best version of yourself so they could become the best version of themselves. So like I said, the first enemy of a child is an unhealed parent. So if you're healed, your child can grow up and be healed as well, and not have to go through the burdens that you went through.
Absolutely. All right. Do we have any questions for? I know we went in for a second. We did. All right. So we will be back after this break.
Hey, what's up, family? It's Dr. Shonda Reynolds, licensed clinical psychologist and host of Paging Dr. Shonda. Y'all, what I need you to do is to pull out your purses, your wallets, everything so that you can contribute financially today to DETV. Contributing to this station is important because it is a nonprofit foundation that makes sure that we receive local information to our community. In an era where information and news is being censored, we need stuff like this that's allowing us to receive information without it being impacted. All right, y'all, make sure that y'all are giving to DETV. It's a wrap. Make sure you follow me, Paging Dr. Shonda, on all platforms.
Hey y'all, welcome back. Thea Lopez here, and today we have some more ladies on the couch. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
And we have Miss
Chanel Edwards.
Kadisha Watson.
And Jasmine Washington.
Yay, yay, yay. Thank you. So we are actually like representing all different stages of womanhood. And I'm excited to see what this next round of conversation is going to look like. So this is my biggest thing. So what is like one of your biggest personal wins or lessons or challenges that you've learned in like this past decade of your life?
Wow. Well, for me, I'm within my 50s. We'll go with that. And for me, something that I've learned is to embrace life. I was a mother in my 20s of 4 children. So I was always doing whatever the kids need, wherever they wanted to go, whatever they were about, sports, it didn't matter. And I found myself in my 20s just going for my kids, my 30s, my kids, 40s, they were going their separate ways, about to leave home or whatever. And then when I hit 50, it was like, oh, it's all about me.
Yes.
Let's just do this.
Selfish season.
Yes. So I wound up opening up a business. I wound up just being about me. I got a nose piercing. My daughter said, are you going through the change? No, I'm going through the life. I love it. So for me, it's just the growing part of just loving my kids, but now it's all about what I want to do.
What did I learn in the last decade? So in the last decade, I have been through a lot. And what I've learned is that it's okay to be me. I have learned that starting over is not a bad thing. I have learned that I am okay just showing up as me. I think that's the biggest thing that I have learned over the last 10 years. Yeah.
Mine would be self-examine. I felt myself like looking in the mirror, seeing somebody else. So basically taking the time to nurture myself and nurture my inner being. It basically helps, just curate, the better version of myself. So self-examine.
I would definitely second that, but also just like kind of understanding myself. I've done a lot, like growing up, I was always doing everything for my parents or like my friends or what everybody else wanted, and I was never focusing on myself. And now I'm kind of, creating boundaries like you guys have talked about. Stand on business, guys, because I'm not going to keep falling. I'm standing on business. I'm going to do what I came to do, and I have goals, and I want to achieve that, and I'm not going to be able to do that if I'm doing stuff for everybody else. So it's definitely like doing things for me, understanding myself, knowing what I want in life, and then kind of just going for it.
And how old are you again?
Oh, I'm 25.
25.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so crazy because when we step into adulthood in our early 20s, like we're expected to just know and understand things, and that is not the life at all. This is the first time that we get to actually like experiment with adulthood, making our own decisions. So for people to think that we are supposed to like have it figured out and that, we are just supposed to listen to them, but they still want us to be independent, it's very weird energy.
Confusing.
And I'm glad that at 26, 25, that you start to figure it out, because I think it took me maybe a little later, maybe like 27, 28, to figure it out. And I mean, I'm still someone, I literally, maybe a year ago, stopped calling my dad before every major decision I had to make in my life. But it's because I trust him. But you don't have it figured out even at 30. And it's okay to ask.
It is okay. It is.
When I think what I would say is in my 20s, I feel like I was very like, reactive, right? Where you're just like going with the flow. You're trying to like trust the universe, but still have your hand on it, right? But I'm also like at the age or space where I like don't feel comfortable enough and didn't really think that I added value. And I think in 30s is when you start to be like real proactive and take full authority over certain things. So that's what I want to say like this season has been, or the past 10 years has been. And it shifted a lot, especially from being in your 20s, being the youngest or the only of in the room. And that whole imposter syndrome like tends to tap. Girl. Okay. And I think that every woman at every stage of their lives like goes through it. And again, it's because we are like going through this whole new experiment that we've never been here before. We're still learning as we go. One thing my mentor told me is, and she's a marine biologist, a Black woman. I mean, she wanted to be a marine biologist since she was 5, and like she did that. Like shout out to her. But she told me like one thing, because she being the only Black woman in certain spaces, that helps her is understanding like, yo, if our president can like get his job, I literally can do anything in the world.
Wow. So good way to think about it.
That like really helped me understand some things. And another thing another mentor told me is, because at times I would feel like, what am I doing in this room? Like, how do I add, though I know I am fully qualified and I wouldn't be in this room, people didn't believe in me, right? She said, when you're in certain rooms, don't always try to be the loudest. Don't always try to, have something to say. It's okay if you don't. Just continue to introduce yourself, and humility. That is one thing she taught me. Being humble enough to know that everyone doesn't know you. Even if they see you 1,000 times, still introduce yourself and still be polite. So that's something that I really learned, and something that I feel like I'm shifting into like in my early 30s.
It's funny because you had a conversation that you said when I was in an audience, and it was really funny when you said, I surround myself with people that I want to mimic. I want to basically see where they're at and what they're doing. And for me, the business that I have is a staffing agency. So I'm around a lot of people, I say the good old boys. So I stand out. Here I am, African-American woman, short hair, a little chunky, and and I listen to them, and Tom, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and guess what? I listen to them, and then after a while, I started engaging conversations. When the words come out of my mouth, they're sitting there like, oh, well, tell me about what you do, or tell me about this. So I engage myself. So I surround myself with people that I want to understand what they do. How did you get to this figure? How do you make this money? How do you get these businesses? And unfortunately, I had to kind of leave some people to do this, where people, you know, just don't understand. Oh, you're not doing this no more. You're not doing that. So when you said what you said, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm doing it right. It's okay for me to be able to connect with people. And then, of course, something I do every day. I go in my office, I anoint my walls, I pray every single day before my staff walks through that door, because I know for a fact he's going to make sure I'm good, and I'm going to make sure it's better because of him. So.
Ordered steps.
Yes.
I like that. Another thing I was just thinking about was extending the grace to myself, because us as women, we feel as though we always have to show up in every position for the child, for the husband, for the job, for ourselves, without extending that grace to ourselves. And we beat ourselves up when we fall short. So I feel like with me being an entrepreneur, I call myself a serial entrepreneur because I have several sources of income. I feel like sometimes I let myself down, but then I think about it like, Rihanna, who else is doing this? Like, give yourself some grace. Extend that grace to yourself, because if you didn't have the capacity to do it, you wouldn't be doing it. So just knowing that it's going to be okay, and time will tell. Like, you got to allow time to give itself room to show you who you are, without showing up that day as far as being the boss. You know, sometimes you gotta be the servant. Serve yourself, serve people, and then everything else gonna add into itself.
See, you haven't figured out. You are figuring it out as you go.
It's hard though.
That's very important.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It is hard, and it, especially like Black women and women of color, and it's hard for us to kind of take the step back and be like, okay, like it's okay to mess up, it's okay to fail, and I'm learning that too, like, because I'm in school right now, so I'm getting my master's. And I'm, failing quite often, and I don't like it. I do not like it, but it's like it's something to learn, and you have to give yourself that grace. I had to remind myself I am in school, like I'm doing the internship, I'm learning, and everything is a learning experience, and sometimes you're not gonna get it right, and that's okay. You don't have to be perfect all the time, and though they make it seem like we need to be perfect all the time, we don't have to be perfect. We can make mistakes, and we can still thrive while making mistakes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think on top of that, the idea that as a Black woman in certain spaces, we are not allotted the space to mess up. And sometimes we show up and we tend to dim our lights just so other people can shine. And so I feel like in a lot of places, we don't just have to give ourselves grace, we also have to ensure that we are kind to each other. We are each other, because nobody's coming to save us. Let's just get that straight. Nobody's coming to save us. So if we are not kind to each other, if we don't show up for each other and create those safe spaces when you feel like you're failing, because in every failure, the success is there. So every time that you feel that you're failing, find a community that you can rely on and say, girl, I just need to rock my this time. I just need you to be my back right now. I just need you to hold my hand up right now, because sometimes that's all we need.
Thank you, Ms. Felicia.
That's powerful.
Right there, for sure. And now that y'all have the mic and y'all have our undivided attention, please, please, please tell us, what's some advice that you would have given your younger self that you know now?
So my daughter is here with me, and I unlike a lot of people, so I had my first child at 14, and so now she's 30, right? My younger self, I would tell myself to slow down, definitely slow down, and you said a lot of stuff that I definitely agreed with. But the biggest part for me is knowing my self-worth. That's something that I didn't know. It was never taught to me. It was just something. One, I grew up in a culture in Jamaica where it was not, you a girl. What? That's it, you a girl. And that meant you were excluded from a lot of spaces. The value was not placed. I would have taught myself that I'm enough. I'm enough every time. I'm enough in every season, in every space I show up in. I'm enough. And so that's one thing I would definitely have advised myself of.
I'm enough. Thank you.
That was good. For me, I would have said, girl, he don't love you. Get your life. He does not love you.
He don't love himself.
Right. Got drink to that one.
Right.
Got drink to that. It don't even know itself. So understanding with me, I grew up, you know, my parents weren't together. My father had a whole separate life, and my mom did her best in raising me. But she was learning. My mother had me at a very early age. And she was learning, so she didn't really know a whole lot. But once I got in my 20s, I love him, he loves me, da da da. No, Chanel, like I didn't love myself. So if I was to go back and I say, teach myself something, teach myself how to motivate me, teach myself how to push me. My daughter always says, girl, you're a pusher, Mom, you're a pusher. Yes, but I needed that at my 20s. I needed to be able to push, because I pushed my daughters. I pushed them and so proud of them, but I didn't push me. So if I was to go back to that younger girl, that younger young lady, and I would have said, stay in school. You ain't got to come back from Virginia to Delaware to say, oh, I miss him. He wasn't thinking about me. You know, I would have made a lot of things shift in my life. So for the younger me, yeah, Chanel, do what's going to be good for you. Look at yourself in the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years and know what you want to be. Know what you're going to do. So I would have talked a lot to myself instead of saying, where's he at? What's he doing? He didn't call me. And back in the day when we were in college, we didn't have a cell phone. We was at that pay phone and we were pushing. Wow. He ain't answering the phone. He ain't home. What you mean? It's 10 o'clock at night. So yeah, so that would be me, just knowing that I had to love myself, knowing that no, baby boy didn't love me.
I definitely think a lot of that is really just trying to figure out like where we stand and things. And I love like the Gen Alpha generation, because I feel like they're the first generation who can show up in this space where they have the tools that they need to heal.
Yes.
And I feel like our parents and Gen, not X, but you know, the 50 plus, 40, you guys were trying to just survive, and your grandparents before that. And I feel like the millennials who are now in their 30s, we now have the tools to like thrive and unlearn those things. And it could be difficult and challenging, especially when we're showing up and we're changing these thought processes and just trying to like make a difference while still holding on to certain relationships. And it could get messy at times, because your parents are like, who is this person? You're like, no, I'm trying to learn from you. We spoke about like relationships too. I know someone who her parents were married, but they never seen them like hug, kiss, show affection. And I think that's because people were staying in relationships because they had to survive. Wow. And relationships could be messy, and a lot of it starts in your 20s. So if you can please tell me, the 20s are messy. Real messy. What is something that you have learned from your 20s, or how have you like changed from your 20s?
Okay, so I'll start. Communication is key. Not just communication, but then understanding as well. So I say like communication aspect just because like a past relationship I was in, I wasn't advocating for myself. I wasn't communicating what I needed. I wasn't setting boundaries. And that kind of hurt me in the end, because I didn't say what I wanted. I didn't say what I needed. And I kind of just was okay and comfortable with things that I was not comfortable with. And that made the relationship it was a very negative, toxic relationship. And it went on for a lot longer than it needed to be. And I am still like, you know, just a little frustrated with myself and upset that I let myself get to that point. And now it's not even just communication in like intimate relationships, but also in like personal work relationships, communicating what you need, advocating for yourself. So that's probably the biggest thing that I definitely learned and needed to understand. So now I am setting those boundaries. I am communicating what I'm feeling, even if I'm frustrated, even if it's something I'm not comfortable saying, like I'm gonna say it, because I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna be hurt inside and crying in my bed. I'm not doing that anymore. We're gonna talk about it right now, and we're gonna get it out the way. Like I'm just gonna be done. That's probably like the biggest thing I would probably say for me.
Ooh, I love that. Mine's would like just piggyback over communication, listening to understand rather than listening to defend. And understanding that trust but verify is a real thing. Trusting what somebody's saying, but also verifying, because at the end of the day, people can't even trust themselves. So how is it that you're trusting them that much? And also abbreviating words, because I feel like when you break down words, not just in a dictionary, but redefining what words mean, it will actually put sense to you. Like we want to walk on truth and not in just facts. So what that means, like she said, fail. what does fail mean? First attempt in learning. Okay, I failed in something that I first attempted to do. So keep trying till I fail my way into success. So just making sure I put myself in a predicament where my communication is very effective to the point where I know I didn't let myself down.
Right. I think what I would say is that we mentioned earlier selfish, right? And I struggle with the word selfish because I feel like there's nothing wrong with putting ourselves first. And so I tend to use the word self first instead of selfish, because when you put yourself first, then everything else gets pushed to the back. And I think what I would say is to definitely put myself first. I come first before everyone and everything. I come first no matter what's happening, no matter what's going on. Khadijah is a priority. And everything else that comes after, I'm good with it.
So for me, I've always been, I'm the oldest of 5. I have my kids, the grandkids, and I would always run. They call, I'm running. They call, whatever they need. And just recently, I've gotten to a point in my life that what I want is what I'm going to do. What I need is what I'm going to give myself. They laugh at me because every week I buy either a new pair of glasses or a new pair of sneakers. And it's just because I'm so used to putting everybody first, I'm doing me now. So, and mind you, I have a husband. Love him dearly. That's my dude, you know. But he understands the concept. He said, babe, did you buy yourself something? I sure did. So I am learning how to, I like how she said, it's not selfish, it's self first. I have learned in the last, and I will say the last 5 years now, it's about Chanel, whatever Chanel wants. I left my job, I opened up a business. I didn't care what the situation was. I worked 3 jobs till I got it up and going. Celebrating 5 years, then I opened up another business. So it was just like, they got it together. Or if they don't have it together, they got to get it together. But for me in my house, as far as myself, meaning my body, me, I'm going to put myself always first now. And then guess what? God's always going to be first, and then it's going to be me, and then the rest can follow behind. If I have time, if I have the strength or the resources to help you, I may. Let me think on it 24 hours.
Yes, I love that.
I love that. I would definitely say quickly friendship. When you are in your 20s, you're traveling, you're going to a different destination in your 30s where you're becoming possibly a wife, a mother, you're starting new careers. You definitely need to make sure that your friends that you have are for you, that are going to celebrate you in the ways that you need to be celebrated. Make sure that's not one-sided. Understanding what your friends' love languages are so you can love them that way, because you know, your friends that you have right now, you're going to transition with them from losing their parents, from becoming like parents, and it's hard. So just making sure that your crew, your main, your Thrive tribe are the folks that are supposed to be there. So we are about to wrap up, but before we wrap up, I would love to get like a 1-sentence like motto that you are going to go through this stage of your life. So we have the 20s, we have the entering 30s, I am in my 30s, we have 40s, 50s. Just tell us briefly, just 1 sentence, what this motto is going to be briefly.
Mine is, don't tell me the sky is the limit when there's footprints on the moon.
That part.
Yes.
I love that.
I want to do this. Let's do it. Know your worth. Know what you're all about.
Yes. I would say mine is seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added.
I would probably say that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do it all.
I love it.
Well, I would go. I would say you deserve to be in every room that you were in. You add value to it every time.
I love that.
So yes. Hold on. Can we get one from the audience?
I love that. Yes. I know you're working at tax.
All right.
Yes, add text.
Literally, you gotta add it.
If you're the smartest person in the room, it's time to change room.
Well, thank you all for being with us this evening on our couch and giving us your perspective on how to survive your 20s and thrive in your 30s and beyond. Thank you, guys.